Let's continue our discussions around land and housing in South Africa. Johannesburg, of course, is the most densely populated region in the country. Many people continue to raise concerns over land and housing in this urban area. And, of course, over the last few days in Rabi Ridge, for example, frustrations growing, patience running out, with residents taking the law into their own hands. How much has government done to address land and housing in Johannesburg? Let's discuss this now with Action SA leader and former Johannesburg Mayor, Herman Mashaba. Good evening, sir, and thank you so much for your time. Current Mayor Jeff Makubo has told our reporter a little earlier today that land invasions, and I'm quoting, were allowed to fester between 2016 and 2019. Now, that's the period when you were Mayor of Johannesburg. Did you allow land invasions to fester?
Well, it's actually quite unfortunate, Sally. You know, for me, it's always very difficult to respond to someone who's supposed to be in jail for the mess that is caused for being an agent for the Gupta family, working directly for them. However, let me deal with the question of housing in our city of Johannesburg. I mean, I'm on record with all the evidence. When I took over the city, we had 220 informal settlements. We had a city of Johannesburg hijacked by international criminal syndicate. And it's not just really a question of Johannesburg. We're in a city where we've allowed open borders where, everyone from all over the world who obviously saw South Africa as a paradise for criminal activity. And these are the issues that if South Africans, if we are not prepared or we don't have the courage to confront them directly, we will unfortunately suffer the consequences, because how do you allow a country, South Africa, with such massive housing backlog? At the time when I took over the city with 300,000 housing backlog, 300,000. Some of the people who were on the housing list, 160,000, were on the housing list for over 20 years. We were relying on this failed system of RDP houses, where we were building RDP low-quality houses 70, 80 kilometers away from opportunities. That's why when I took over, I made a very bold statement on the 1st of December 2016, during my 100 days, that we are going to reclaim the city from criminal element. We are going to work with the private sector to build affordable accommodation for our people. And I embarked on this process, very difficult arrangement, working with 7 political parties every time to really get their support, working with the ANC under Jeff Makubo, doing everything possible to collapse my government. By the time I left, as you are aware, this affects 154 buildings. I had already expropriated them, giving them to the private sector to build affordable accommodation for people, to the value of 32 billion, to yield something like 24,000 housing units. And as you are aware, local government housing is not a competency of the municipality. But because I realized the competency where it belonged to national and provincial, they were dismally failing. They were busy stealing public monies, being focused on getting...
So are you saying that the problem is Jeff Makubo, who you say should be in jail? Have you got evidence, and have you handed that evidence over to the authorities?
More than enough evidence. I can tell you right now.
Have you handed it over, though? That's what I want to know. Have you handed it to? You've opened a case.
I laid the criminal charges myself with bank statements. At the time, Sadie, I had 30 million rands of commissions that Jeff Makubo had received from the Guptas. But when he appeared at the Zondo Commission, it's on record, actually Zondo Commission picked up another 7 million. So basically, just on one transaction from the Guptas on commission, Jeff Makubo, with bank statements are there. Jeff Makubo himself doesn't deny. He received as a MMC of finance, working for the Gupta family instead of working for the people of Johannesburg. So the evidence is there. I went to go and lay the charge myself at the Johannesburg police station.
You're painting a picture. All right, great. You're painting a picture of corruption and being hampered by national and provincial government in trying to sort out the housing issues in Johannesburg. But you also mentioned that we allow anyone across our borders. Do you think that foreigners are largely to blame for the criminal networks that hijack buildings in Johannesburg?
Well, I can't say largely, but to some extent. Sadly, when we are sitting right now, we don't know how many undocumented foreign nationals we've got in the city of Johannesburg. But one thing that I can give you as a fact, you remember when I was a mayor, we carried out a lot of the raids. I can tell you some of the buildings, we found up to 80% of the people in these buildings undocumented foreign national. Fact, I'm not giving you an ideology. Undocumented. And these matters I've raised with the Home Affairs. I even had to appear before, I had to request the hearing from Parliamentary Committee on Home Affairs. On the 22nd of October 2019, I went to Parliament to go and present the dysfunctional state of Home Affairs.
All right, thank you very much for your time this evening. That was Herman Mashaba, Action SA leader, and of course the former mayor of Johannesburg.